38% of Americans delayed medical care due to cost in 2022. That's a record high, due to cost. So almost 4 out of 10 Americans are delaying medical care. So now tell me about how socialized medicine is bad because you have to wait. Tell me, by the way, remember they go, oh, you have to wait. Yeah, you have to wait for things that you can wait for. You don't have to wait for things you can't wait for. You know, in America, you have to wait. Yeah, 4 out of 10 Americans are waiting until they get more money. I went to get my gallbladder taken out. I couldn't even get, I had a gallbladder attack. I was certain I was going to die. I didn't, obviously. So they said, you got to get your gallbladder out. So I made an appointment with my with a surgeon. I couldn't even get an appointment with a surgeon for over a month. A month. Just to get it. And so I got another surgeon who wasn't in my Blue Cross thing that I was going to have to pay more out of pocket for. I was able to get in with him in 3 weeks. And then he did the surgery. So it took me just to get a meeting with the surgeon was a month inside my insurance protocol. So this idea that you'd have to wait for service or medical care in the United States is ridiculous because you do all the time. And so there it is. 4 out of 10 Americans are delaying their medical care because of cost. And Joe Biden doesn't give a shit, and neither do any of the Democrats, because nobody's talking about medical care since Joe Biden got elected. Nobody's talking about Medicare for all. They're not even talking about the public option that Joe Biden promised everybody. New polling finds that the proportion of Americans who have delayed medical treatment due to the cost has hit a record high as the pandemic rages on, and it becomes harder for working class to afford regular and emergency costs. According to Gallop, 38% of Americans had either put off seeking medical treatment themselves or a member of their families did so in 2022. This is a 12% rise from the proportion of Americans who experienced this in 21 and 20. This is an all-time high since Gallup began recording this data in 2001 and a 5% increase over the previously record high of 33% in 2019. So I think it's stories like this, Kurt, that show why it was so important that the squad didn't force a vote on Medicare for all. Otherwise, who knows how much worse these numbers would be. Remember they said if they had a vote on it, it would set us back. How much worse would it be if they had a vote on Medicare for all?
Set us back? Remember that's really amazing. Yeah.
Younger people, women...
I would hate to have... I'm sorry.
Yeah. Younger people, women, and those with lower incomes were most likely to put off care. Of course. While 35% of people aged 18 to 49 put off medical care, only 13% of people over 65... You know why? Because they have Medicare. Meanwhile, those with an annual household income under $40,000 were almost 2 times more likely to put off medical care for a serious condition than those with household incomes above $100,000. Gallup wrote that the sharp rise can be attributed to high inflation rates, which have created financial hardships for over half of households. Indeed, households are being hit extremely hard financially from many angles. Healthcare costs are becoming increasingly unaffordable for both the uninsured and those with insurance. I had insurance, we went bankrupt. And pharmaceutical companies continue to raise costs of prescription drugs at a rate that far outpaces inflation. Healthcare unaffordability is a uniquely American problem. The U.S. spends more than any other wealthy country on healthcare each year as a result of being the only wealthy country without universal healthcare and basic health-related provisions like guaranteed paid sick and parental leave. Research has found that the pharmaceutical industry, which is behind one of the U.S.'s most powerful lobbies in D.C., makes more money off the United States sales than all other countries combined for many key drugs. The high cost of healthcare, including the high cost of COVID and long COVID care, could be worsening the pandemic as people put off getting treated for illnesses due to cost. Hey, look, new study. More than 335 lives could have been saved during the pandemic if we had universal healthcare. They never talk about that. It's weird. Fauci never once mentioned the importance of universal healthcare to help save 335,000 lives. He just says masks and vaccines and shut the fuck up. The amount of money available to the average American is also a factor. In contrast to 2022, in 2020 and in 2021, a relatively low number of people put off seeking medical care compared to the previous years, likely due to the fact that provisions in the stimulus packages passed by Congress drove down economic hardship, plunging poverty rates down to record lows. But politicians have now allowed provisions like the expanded child tax credit and stimulus payments to expire or be set aside. Even though inflation is soaring, even the initial $1,200 stimulus checks authorized in December 2020 are worth about $150 less now than they were then, thanks to inflation. In the absence of the government aid, the working class is also being hit with accelerated trends of wealth inequality that are sapping wealth away from regular people to the top 1%, as spurred by neoliberal policies. Trends that started before the pandemic, but which have accelerated in recent years. In 2021 and 2022, for instance, workers got a wage cut in real wages due to the inflation, with workers having their pay cut by roughly 2% each year. With stagnant wages for workers combined with increased costs for things like college education and housing over the past decades, the working class has been doubly hit, and the middle class, which is already shrinking, is in crisis. Last year, data showed that from March 10th to October, the average wealth of the middle 40% of Americans dropped by 7%, the single largest drop since the Great Recession. Kurt, are comedy clubs talking about it?
What do you mean?
Because it's so. I'm like, are ticket sales down because of the economy? Is it because of COVID? I wonder if are they talk. I don't know how you can tell, right? Because COVID was such a screwball.
I feel like when when it's bad, I tend to do better. I think people spend more on recreation than, like there's a lot of blowing off steam being done, I feel like, more now.
The CBO, this is the Congressional Budget Office. If Democrats push socialized medicine, get ready for rationing. That's from the right-wing Federalists. Great news. No one needs to get ready because it's already happening. Great news. I bet you'll be happy. Hey, we're doing live stand-up comedy in Los Angeles, Tempe, Arizona, Palm Springs, Milwaukee, Minneapolis, Nashville, Northampton, Massachusetts, and a lot more places. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets and become a premium member while you're there. You get access to all of our stuff. See you then.